Shalom, shalom. Another day that Yah has made. Another day. Another yawn. So I basically want to focus on it ain't always you. It ain't a lot of times in relationships, a distance and a breach can occur. And you're like, man, did I offend them? What did I do to make them no longer want to be around? A lot of times it may be you, but I'm learning that if you're walking in Torah, walking in truth, a lot of times it really isn't you. Your lifestyle makes people uncomfortable. They feel judged. Condemnation hits them when it should be conviction, but they go through condemnation. Your life represents something that maybe they aspire for towards or whatever, but they they're not hitting that standard, and you kind of bother them. Your ruach kind of bothers their demons. Right now it's labeled holiday time, Christmas time. You got some that's going to switch over and transition to Hanukkah, but you got some that are still doing Christmas. I'm over a decade being in this Israelite walk, so a lot of things don't surprise me. But I know how it was, for me. When I first transitioned over, of course, um, there were still crosses and stuff on my walls because that was the core of the house. And as I became more and more uncomfortable with those things, and verbs and nouns started coming out of my mouth about those things, I didn't blast them and like, baby, take that down. No, I just let it know that I wasn't into that no more. And with time, my wife eventually started taking those things down. Not because I made her, but I let her know, though we walked as Christians, that lifestyle no longer was my lifestyle. And me being the leader of my home, my wife followed. It didn't happen immediately. You know, the Christmas tree and stuff like that end up being removed from the house, but it didn't happen immediately. Stopping eating shellfish or whatever. It didn't happen immediately. But it would be something if I was this decade plus in and my wife was still, doing those things. That would be kind of a conflict. But thing is, all through Israel, when you have a relationship with people, you can see those things still exist with some people. Some people are, even in leadership, still have Christian wives that are living a very active life in Christianity, maybe even a Christian husband or whatever, very active in that thing, so of course they bring that stuff home, they participate in it, do things in that. And when you're getting more and more established, especially as a leader, condemnation could be hitting you like, man, this ain't cool. But of course, they don't have the voice to speak and say, hey, this ain't cool. And years go on and their compromise goes on. And then what? There are so many different things that, I've been privy to. And so, of course, when I talk about certain things, people can always think, oh, he talking about me, that I'm throwing shots. And a lot of this stuff is not throwing shots. It's not meant to be a personal attack, but it's a ministry moment. I was one that was adamant that shacking, or what I called shacking, through Christianity and stuff like that. And then I started reading and learning about our culture that there was a betrothal betrothal, betrothal period. I can't say it right. And that the woman would basically be married to the man, but not married to the man, living in his house, and they may be doing stuff, but basically the promise was there, so they were going for her. So there was sort of a shacking going on. He had taken responsibility, and I'm like, oh wow, that's something to know. You know, there's nothing really in the Torah speaking about shacking. I was making a big emphasis of it, but it's not there. Now, a lot of this, I guess, sexual activities, I've seen a lot of men have told women that they were their wives because sex is marriage, and then there never is a union. They end up moving on to the next. And when you start calling stuff out like that, those type of people start staying away because then, they see, okay, you with this person, y'all having sex, you might hold them accountable. People run from accountability. During these holidays and stuff like that, people they basically spend this time with their families. They go with their families, their mothers and stuff like that, that they can't talk to about this stuff. And so you may see them disappear from social media, disappear from, just any type of fellowship, because at this time they spending what they consider quality time with their mother, family, and all that. And they're partaking in these things. And these are some of the same people that may convict people of other stuff. Oh, you shouldn't eat that. They're on the diet. They they hold up such a standard in their lives as far as what they say vocally on social media and stuff like that. But then when you look into their actual lives, you see that they having struggles. They're actually living um, under the influence of these things. Maybe they're not directly, participating, but those things are being participated around him, and they're there. They don't feel uncomfortable and leave that situation, or demand something different. It's a lot of men that don't really have control of their households. If you start paying attention, their wives are basically seeking ministry elsewhere because they don't hear the voice of their husband. A lot of lack of respect that's going on, and a lot of people don't, I guess, view it as disrespect. The way you lead your house is the way you lead your house, I guess, but if your woman is basically having more say on matters than you do, she's the lead. If there's something that really don't like and is still going forth, you really don't have the level of control that you may say. And I get it, there's free will and stuff like that, but man, when are you going to uphold the standard and choose Yah? When are you going to say, okay, I'm gonna draw this line? And I'm like, I'm not trying to bring forth division far as saying divorce, but I'm like, man, grow some, grow a pair, as it say. Some men need to actually have some testicular fortitude. I've known a man that his wife was wearing, well, his daughter was wearing daisies or cut up shorts, and and I'm like, whoa, and he didn't say nothing. But then his wife came in like shortly after and stuff like that, and she was wearing similar to the daughter, so you see where the daughter had got it from, and he didn't say anything. And so later I said something to him, and the question was, you okay with that? You know, I'm like, I'm not lusting after, but I'm like, other men probably would lust after your daughter and your wife. And he's like, if I say something, I'm likely not to have intimacy with my wife for a while. So that was a fear of his. She had control of that narrative. She would discipline him by withholding sex if he challenged anything that she did. She was running that thing. Yeah, I seen him as a leader for a time, but then it's like when I seen that, it's like honestly, I'll tell the truth. My respect for him kind of diminished a little bit. Still loved him, but it's like, man, you ain't got control of this. And the narrative though is that, you know, Shanquilla is too demanding. You know, basically, you know, that people think that I guess, rule my home with the iron fist, which I don't. My wife, is my helpmeet. She doesn't just go along to get along. She basically sees me as a trustworthy worthy leader, and she follows. I didn't demand that she get rid of the crosses. I didn't demand that she get rid of the Christmas trees. I didn't demand that she get rid of shellfish and stuff like that. But as she seen me walking in this walk and actually having the integrity in doing these things, she went along. Now, one thing I did kind of demand was the Sabbath, because in Christianity we would give honor to Sunday, but you could still do stuff. With the Sabbath, you know, you're not supposed to be, you know, working, spending money and stuff like that. And that, you know, that's Saturday end up, you know, is most people's free day if you work Monday through Friday. So it was like almost like let's transfer what I do Sunday over to Saturday. But I'm like, no, Sabbath requires even more. And at you know, at first it was a little, you know, friction. Now my wife, you know, she enjoys the rest that she gets on the Sabbath. She rests more than I do, you know, but she needs that rest, you know, and I had to, you know, basically show her that that's how it's supposed to be. And now it's not just because I say so. It's something now that's become ingrained in it. I had to take the lead, you know. I don't know. I can't tell another man how to lead his household and what's, you know, how it's supposed to go. Like some men say, "Oh, my woman can't wear pants." There's no biblical standard of that, but if that's what that man says in his household, that's what should be. The man is supposed to be the head, but you know, of course, I have so many conflicts with people that are of the secular realm, that's of the world, who say, you know, equality. The woman was made to be a helpmeet. Man's supposed to be the lead, and a lot of this stuff that, you know, it's not taken away from them or whatever, freedoms or whatever. It's the order. I don't know. Let me drink some of this water because I got a little. But seriously, I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm like, man, I've basically been distanced. A lot of people have gotten distant from me, and you know, and I wonder why. You know, I'm like, man. But a lot of times when you call people out, when they know that you're going to hold them accountable, it makes them uncomfortable. You know, when they slipping up and they going back and eating things that they shouldn't eat. Maybe it's unclean meats and stuff like that. And they know, you're like, what are you doing? You know, I happened to be out one time with a guy, and his wife called and wanted him to pick him up a seafood boil, pick up a seafood boil. And I'm like, no, I won't be taking you to do that. If you go do that, I'm like, they were at home with the car. Why they didn't go get it or whatever? But you know, they want you to partake in it. I'm like, nah, I won't be taking you to do that. You know, and you know, it looked at me a little crazy, but I'm like, you still doing that? You know, you can't control what the woman is doing, I guess. You know, but still, it's like you participating in her doing that. You're supposed to be the priest of your home. I'm like, okay. But again, I was viewed as judgmental or whatever. I'm like, ah, you know, it's so much stuff that people deal with. Okay, if you're in your home and you're not the main one cooking, and your spouse is still eating swine and eating shellfish and stuff like that, the same pots that cook your clean meats are likely the same, you know, things, utensils that are being used to cook those other things. You're being exposed. That's bad when you, in your own home, you can't have a comfort of what you eat to know if it's exposed or not. That's something to think about. And I feel for brothers that's in that situation, but it is a reality that if you have a standard and you so-called running your household, at least I guess they should have some utensils and stuff that's set apart so that they don't have to mix in that or whatever until they get to the level. But a lot of times when people don't view the dietary laws as meaning nothing, they're like, it's just a pan, it's just a fork, it's just, they will use the same utensils in cooking that stuff and probably even in the same cooking setting. They'll have, the different things right there together and put the fork from here to here, they'll cross contaminate. It's bad when you're in your own home and you can't trust that your meal is set apart to Yah. You know, I would not. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know how it is now because I'm past that time. How it is to want to spend time with your family, but always have to compromise your faith. Most of my biological family outside of my home, I stopped going to events because uh, most of the events were surrounded around the secular holidays. I love my family and would love to see them, but do I need to always compromise? I did start inviting people to the feast days. Not many have come, so things are going to eventually cause you to be separated from people. And it does not always have to be because something that you did, far as, or, well, I'm gonna say it is something that you did, but it's not because you made them. It's they're making a choice a lot of times because they know that that light that's coming out of you is basically affecting what they enjoy, that darkness that they enjoy. You're a kill you basically a killjoy. To see you come around, it's like, here come this, and you don't even have to say a word. Again, your lifestyle ministers something. It is what it is. Even on social media and stuff like that, I've noticed a lot less interaction from certain people, because I'm speaking on stuff that makes them uncomfortable. Things that if they were to answer or speak to, it would expose maybe even their hearts. And it's not like I'm the standard bearer or whatever like that. They don't have to agree with me, stuff like that. That is what it is. But some things are accountability things. I put something about the law of the vow and how a woman basically has her father that she has to, you know, check her words on. He can actually cancel out her vow, and then it transfers to her husband. Most people don't agree with that, but it's right there in the text. They say they believe the Bible, but they don't believe that. How can you separate? It's right there. There are so many different things that people have issue with. In this feminist world that we live in and wanting equality and stuff like that. It's like we're not even the same. Yes, we are humans, I guess you could say, but a man has a plug, a woman has an outlet. You know, something that the plug goes in. They're not the same. One shoots out, one receives. Not the same. Are they compatible with each other? Yes. Do they complement one another? Yes. But their design is different. One is the giver, one is the taker. But I guess now the taker wants to give, and that's out of order. That's perverse. That's a problem. That's broken. But that's what we want to do. Women are dictating what's going on in the home a lot of time, dictating how the children are being raised, dictating how the finances are to be distributed. And I get it. If you have a husband that's irresponsible with money, irresponsible with his time, just irresponsible, that may be wisdom. A lot of times when I speak on how me and my wife's finances are joined to one another, a lot of people like, they trust their bodies with somebody that they don't trust their finances with. It tells you basically what's more valuable. You protect your valuables. If you can just freely give away your sexuality in your body, but your money, you know, what's more valuable? Sounds like to me like that money is more valuable than your body and then even your mind, your time. I don't know. You know, I just don't get it. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. I'm like, man, I always wondered if it was me in certain scenarios, and it's like I'm starting to see it's not always me. I make people uncomfortable because the way I talk, and a lot of times they think, oh, he's boasting. No, a lot of times I have to reassure myself. I have to stir up the gift in me, as what you all told to Timothy. I'm stirring it up in me. I repeat a lot of stuff so that I'm like, okay, this is my standard. This is the standard, because it's times that I'll be ready to slip up, because it feels good a lot of times. It feels good for the moment to compromise sometimes, but then afterwards you feel guilty. You feel like man, I messed up. Come on, I'm a man. So man, it's a many a times that when women have thrown themselves at me, I'm like, man, I could just get that. I love my wife. I don't desire the women, but my flesh can be tempted. It's all about what you do with the temptation. Do you allow the temptation to overcome you, or do you flee? I'm like, man, what kind of man what kind of man are you if you say that you're not attracted to women? Seriously, what kind of hunter are you? Just because you're attracted don't mean that you have to act on it, though. That's where the discipline part comes in. So I am very much a masculine hunter type man, but I just don't act on the things. My desire sometimes, my flesh be wanting to, but I know the results of it. I had a first marriage, and I did step out of that marriage, and I seen the destruction and all that happens. My two oldest children are from my first marriage, and our relationship, though it is there, it's not as solid as it should be because of the void between me and their mother. I failed. I dropped the ball. I can blame it on her all I wanted to in the beginning, but I'm like, in the end, who is responsible for that union? Yes, the Most High is responsible for us as mankind, but that union was my responsibility. I was given headship over that union. And a lot of times I let her sway me to do things that I was not comfortable with. When I had the voice or ability to say no, and that would have been the most loving thing, and her response would have shown how much she loved me. Because when I tell my wife no now, it don't always set well or whatever and stuff like that. She may ask for an explanation or whatever and stuff like that, but she honors my no. And then it's many things that I say yes to. It's not like I just outright just look for no, 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 no. But she trusts my lead because I have a reputation and I have history of making decisions that benefited this household. Just like when I talked about with the Christmas stuff or whatever, my patience and stuff like that, and me walking in integrity towards the things that I say I believe, it became easier for her to also believe those things. It was not something that I forced on her. It was something with time that began to manifest. Some people don't even uphold their standard. I say it again. If they constantly see that you're going to still participate in these things that you say are not a part of your covenant, what reason do they have to change? You know, if they constantly have you going to these secular events or whatever, or things that you say are against your Yah, but you still go, why do they have to change? Well, you partaking still. What? Why? You know, if they're cooking, doing all, if you, I get it. People don't like to complain, but if you don't ask for change, how can you ever expect for there to be a change? I'm not saying demand like, but if you don't ever put your foot down and say, this is where I stay at, in my situation with my past employer, I kept telling them I need the Sabbath off. I need the Sabbath off. And as long as I didn't step, when I started putting my foot down, yeah, they tried to penalize me and stuff like that, but eventually they backed off of it. But as long as I was, saying I don't want to do this, but I kept doing it, they kept going along with it because it was giving them what they wanted. As long as you keep on saying, I don't agree with these holidays and stuff like that, but yet you keep going along with it, participating in it, they get what they want. Why would they stop? They have no reason to, because there's no consequences. There's nothing there that's going to make them feel I have to change, because they really don't want to. And it's obvious that you say you want them to, but you're not doing anything to set a parameter and say, this is the line, don't cross it. Because you're hanging out on the other side of the line just like they are. They may further across the line, but you're right there with them. So they don't have to even observe the line. Because again, you've already crossed it with. I don't know. I see everybody doing stuff or whatever, and when somebody talks about it, they'll be the main one. You know, if somebody don't participate in New Year's and Christmas, they doing Thanksgiving. Somebody, you got all these different things like, oh, I had so many people on my head because, oh, you don't do Mother's Day, I'm like, I'm not worshiping Rhea. I'm like, you can acknowledge your mama anytime, but my mom, she gets upset. It's like, you're not man enough to speak up and talk to your mom. You don't have to yell at her. You can just let her know, Mom, I'm not doing that no more. And you can find another day to celebrate her. But of course, that's the world, the world is acknowledging your mom that day. So of course she wants to be a partaker in that. A lot of times you got siblings that's doing all that, but now you're competing with the sibling because, I got to do something for my mom. When that's real worship. Oh, you can't let nobody make you guilty. That's your mom. You only get one mom. Okay. So you choosing your family, natural family, over the word of Yah. Uh, that's not what it. I'm like, okay. Whenever something is established that is set on Sunday and not a specific Sunday, you got to know it's got to be a connection to sun worship. But people, they act like they're oblivious to that. And then the funny thing to me though is they don't give the same energy to Father's Day, which I don't participate in that either. I don't even participate in my birthday. And a lot of people, I could tell they get a little upset, that, they'll make sure that I know that it's their birthday and I don't say anything. And then, I could tell it a little bothers them, but I'm like, I don't celebrate them. I don't celebrate mine. So why do you think I'm going to celebrate yours? Well, they say, well, you could at least say, no, I don't give that any energy. The inner G or inner Yah in me won't allow me to, because that's crossing a line. There'd be a temptation there to do that. But no, again, that's not what I'm on. Not what I'm on at all. Well, Abba Yah, thank you for allowing me to just vent a little bit. I know I didn't bring up no scriptures or nothing, because this is not what this was about. But I thank you, Yah, for this time. Thank you that you just allowed me to speak. And maybe somebody heard, and they can grab the practicality up out of this, the principles up out of this, and maybe they can locate some scriptures themselves to apply to their lives off of this. I don't know. But I thank you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shalom.